They tell you to check for ID first. That's the training. That's the protocol. When the smoke clears, when the shouting stops, when the adrenaline finally drains out of your blood and leaves you cold, you check for ID. Because the army runs on paperwork, even in death. But no one tells you what to do when your hand finds something else. Something that doesn't belong to the army. Something folded. Something sealed. Something warm from the body heat of a man who was laughing with you 2 hours ago. Private, First Class Marek Halston wasn't looking for a secret. He was kneeling in the dust of Sector Damaris, hands shaking, trying to find a pulse that he already knew wasn't there. Instead, his fingers brushed against the inside of a flak vest, a pocket that should have been empty. And there it was, a white envelope, crinkled, sweat-stained, and heavy, heavier than paper has any right to be. Marek didn't open it then. You don't open a ghost's mail in a war zone. He shoved it into his own pocket, right next to his heart. And for the next 3 days, that letter burned a hole in his chest. To understand why Marek kept it, you have to understand Adrian. Specialist Adrian Vale, 23 years old, from a small town in Ohio that nobody had ever heard of. Adrian was the kind of guy who could find a joke in a mortar attack. The first time they met was at Fort Resolute during basic. It was raining, the kind of rain that soaks into your bones and stays there. Marek was trying to write a letter home, shivering, his ink running. Adrian had slid onto the bench next to him, grinning like he was at a beach resort. "Hey," Adrian had said, "nice pen. Does it work underwater?" Marek blinked. "What? Let me borrow it. I need to write a girl and tell her I'm currently drowning." Adrian took the pen. He wrote his letter, and he never gave it back. Every time Marek asked for it, for the next 2 years, Adrian had a new excuse. "It's in my other pants. The sergeant borrowed it. I'm keeping it safe for you." Man, consider it a tactical reserve. It became their thing, a small, stupid joke in a world that was serious and sharp. But that pen was the first brick in a brotherhood that nothing could break, or so Marek thought. The night before the patrol, the air at Fob Orion felt heavy, not humid, just thick, like the sky was pressing down on the tents. Most of the platoon was asleep, or trying to be. Marek was awake, cleaning his rifle. The rhythmic click-clack of the bolt was the only sound in the bunk. Across the aisle, Adrian was sitting up. He wasn't sleeping. He wasn't cleaning his gear. He was writing. Marek stopped cleaning. "I thought you ran out of paper weeks ago," Marek whispered. Adrian didn't look up. He was focused, intense. "Traded a pack of cigarettes for a notebook," Adrian said. "Good trade. What are you writing? A novel?" Adrian stopped. He looked at the page for a long time. Then he folded it. Once, twice, 3 times. He slid it into an envelope and licked the seal. The sound of the paper sealing seemed incredibly loud in the quiet tent. "Insurance," Adrian said softly. Marek frowned. "Insurance against what?" "Against forgetting." Adrian tapped the envelope against his knee. "You ever think about it, Marek? About what happens if the lights go out? Who tells your story?" "I plan on telling it myself," Marek said, trying to keep his voice light. "Over a beer, when we're 40. Adrian smiled. It was a sad smile, the kind Marek hadn't seen on him before. "Yeah, that's the plan. But plans change." He stood up and walked over to his gear. He unzipped the inner pocket of his vest, the one right over the ceramic plate, tanned, tucked the letter inside. "If things go sideways tomorrow," Adrian said, not looking at Marek, "if I don't walk back through that gate." "Don't do that," Marek snapped. "Don't talk like that. Just listen," Adrian said. His voice was hard now. "If I don't walk back, you find this, you read it, and you do what it says." Marek stared at him. The shadows under Adrian's eyes looked deep. "You're gonna walk back, Adrian. You owe me $5. Adrian chuckled. The tension broke, just a little. Yeah, I know. Get some sleep, Marek. Night, Adrian. Marek rolled over. He closed his eyes, but he didn't sleep. He listened to the wind against the canvas, and he wondered why goodbye always sounded so quiet. 800 hours. Sector Damaris. The sun was already a hammer. The convoy was for vehicles long, Humvees armored up like tanks, moving slow. Marek was in the third vehicle, rear driver's side. Adrian was in the second vehicle, up in the turret. Marek could see him through the windshield. Adrian's helmet silhouette against a blinding white sky. Scanning, turning, left, right, roofs, windows. The village felt empty, too empty. No kids playing soccer, no market stalls, no dogs barking, just dust and heat waves. Marek keyed his mic. Echo 2. Keep your eyes on those alleyways. Looks tight. Roger that. Mother hen. Adrian's voice crackled back. I see him. Just shadows. The explosion didn't have a sound at first. It was just pressure. A massive, physical hand that slapped the entire convoy sideways. Then the world came back in pieces. Dust, black smoke, the taste of copper in Marek's mouth. Contact, right. The radio screamed. Machine gun fire erupted. Dat dash, dat dash, dat dash, dat dash, dat dash, dat. Marek kicked his door open. He stumbled out into the blinding light. The second vehicle, Adrian's vehicle, was enveloped in smoke. The front end was shattered. Adrian, Marek screamed. He didn't wait for orders. He didn't check his angles. He ran. Bullets snapped past him like angry hornets. Zip, crack, zip. He didn't care. He reached the vehicle. The gunner's turret was still. Marek climbed up, slipping on the oil and hydraulic fluid coating the armor. Adrian, move. We gotta move. He grabbed the strap of Adrian's vest and pulled. Adrian slumped back into the cabin. His eyes were open. He looked surprised. That was the thing Marek would never forget. Not the blood, not the noise, the surprise. Like he couldn't believe the story was ending here. I got you, Marek grunted, dragging him down into the cover of the wheel well. I got you, brother. Stay with me, Marek. Adrian's voice was wet, bubbling. Don't talk. Medic's coming. Shah is coming, Marek. The pocket. Shut up about the pocket, Adrian. Just breathe. Adrian's hand moved. Weak, trembling. He patted his chest. The letter, and then his hand stopped. The shooting continued. The squad returned fire. The medic arrived and started working, but Marek knew. He sat in the dirt, the roar of the battle fading into a dull background buzz. He watched the dust settle on Adrian's eyelashes, and he felt the weight of the promise he made the night before. 3 days later, the barracks was silent. Adrian's bunk was empty. Just a mattress rolled up at the foot. Marek sat on his own bed. He had the envelope in his hands. He had carried it through the rest of the patrol, through the medevac, through the debriefing. Now, under the flickering light, he finally opened it. His hands were clean now, but he still felt the grit under his fingernails. He pulled out the page. Adrian's handwriting was messy, scrawled in blue ink. Marek took a breath and read double quotes. Marek, if you're reading this, it means I messed up, or the universe messed up. Either way, I'm not there to collect my $5. First off, don't you dare do that thing where you go quiet. You know the look, the stoic soldier face. Cut it out. It scares the rookies. I'm writing this because there's stuff I never said, because we're guys, and we don't say this stuff. Tell my mom I wasn't scared. Lie to her if you have to. Tell her I was laughing. Tell her I was safe until the very end. She worries enough. And tell her she was right about the piano lessons. I should have stuck with them, but mostly, I need you to know something. You remember that day in the rain at Fort Resolute, when I took your pen? I didn't need to write a letter. I didn't have a girl back home. I just I saw a guy who looked as lonely as I felt, and I wanted a reason to talk to him. You saved me that day, man. You've saved me every day since. The war is gonna try to take things from you now. It's gonna try to take your sleep, your peace, your happiness. Don't let it. You live a good life, Marek. You find a girl. You have kids. You buy a boat. I don't care. Just live. And one last thing. The story isn't over just because I'm not. The ink stopped. A streak of blue trailed off the bottom of the page. Maybe the siren had gone off. Maybe the lights cut out. The story isn't over just because I'm not. Marek stared at the unfinished sentence. It felt like a cliff, a drop-off into nothing. He couldn't send this to Adrian's mother. Not like this. It was incomplete. It was a song that stopped before the final chord. Marek sat there for an hour. Then, he reached into his bag. He pulled out a pen, the same cheap black ballpoint pen Adrian had stolen 3 years ago. He had found it in Adrian's gear during the inventory. Marek pressed the tip to the paper, right where Adrian's line ended. He didn't try to forge the handwriting. He didn't try to be Adrian. He just finished a thought. He wrote for 10 minutes. He wrote about the courage Adrian showed. He wrote about the laughter. He wrote about the man who brought light into the dark places. When he was done, he folded the letter back up. It wasn't just Adrian's letter anymore. It was theirs. Ohio. In the spring doesn't look like war. It looks like green grass and porches with wind chimes. Marek stood on the doorstep. He was wearing his Class A uniform. Not a wrinkle on it. He felt terrifyingly out of place. The door opened. A woman stood there. She had Adrian's eyes. The same kindness. The same shape. Mrs. Vale. She nodded. She saw the uniform. She saw the sorrow etched into Marek's face. "You're Marek," she whispered. "Yes, ma'am." He sat at her kitchen table. It smelt like coffee and lemon polish. He told her everything. Well, not everything. He didn't tell her about the blood or the dust. He told her about the jokes. He told her about the time Adrian tried to cook spaghetti on a radiator. And then, he took out the envelope. "He wrote this for you," Marek said, "the night before." Mrs. Vale took it. Her hands trembled, just like Adrian's had. She read it slowly. Marek watched her eyes move across the page. He waited for her to reach the end, to reach the part where the ink changed. She stopped. She touched a new writing, Marek's writing. She looked up at him, tears streaming down her face. "Did he finish it?" she asked. Marek shook his head gently. "No, ma'am. He couldn't." Marek swallowed hard. "So I finished it for him." She reached across the table and took Marek's hand. "Thank you." Marek Halston is 30 years old now. He has a wife. He has a son named Adrian. He doesn't have a boat, but he's working on it. He still has the pen. He keeps it in a drawer in his desk. He doesn't use it, but sometimes, when the house is quiet and the memories come back, he takes it out. He holds it, and he remembers the lesson of the letter. That we are all writing a story, and sometimes we don't get to finish the chapter. But if we're lucky, if we're loved, someone else will pick up the pen, and they will finish the sentence for us.